The Penguins have found some hidden gems as two young defensemen are making waves in training camp and preseason, and this will force head coach Dan Muse and GM Kyle Dubas' hand in who makes the roster come opening night. Hello everyone, welcome back to Penguins Digest. My name is Nikash Ganguli. Hope you guys are enjoying your day whenever you guys are getting the time to watch this. We have some exciting news regarding the Pittsburgh Penguins about two young, promising defensemen that could make the roster this year and have a huge impact on the team and have caused major implications for the squad as the preseason trucks along here and the regular season is not too far away. But before we get into both Harrison Brunicke and Owen Pickering, make sure you guys do, of course, subscribe to the channel. We are currently at 67.5% of viewers who are not subscribed. So if you are in that large portion of Penguins Digest viewers who are not subscribed to the channel, why not hit that subscribe button, because we are covering absolutely everything Penguins news as it drops. And, it's been good vibes around Pittsburgh lately, from my opinion. I hope fans are feeling the same way. There's a lot of negativity coming from the offseason, but we're back. I think, morals are up. The locker room is up. A lot of fun things to look forward to as the season starts, as it does always. But also, if you do want to join the Digest media team, we are always looking for passionate Pittsburgh, sports fans who maybe want to make some videos about the Penguins, the Steelers, the Pirates. So if you are, huge fans of one of those teams, I want a platform to talk on. Hit that link in below. You can also type in digestmedia.ca/join-us to apply. But there's a link in the bio. There's a link in the pinned comment. So if you're a passionate sports fan and you want a platform, you can do what I do, what all the other Digest media channels do. Hit that button. Apply is easy. We're always looking for writers, content creators, and all that sorts of things. But let's get into the video today. So first things first, was this tweet actually from Josh Yohe on September 22nd, which is 3 days ago. He says, I'm honestly not so sure that Harrison Brunicke isn't, or I guess Brunicke? I think it said Brunicke on Hockey Reference, but isn't already the Penguins' best defenseman. And when I saw this post, it got me thinking I should do a deep dive into Brunicke and how good he is. I looked up some of his numbers and I looked up some of his stats, and I wouldn't. Obviously, he's being hyperbolic here, but he had a good showing in his first games with the Penguins. I know he's looking in training camp, which also led us to an article by Josh Yohe as well, where he answered this question about there's no way Owen Pickering and Harrison Brunicke aren't in the opening night lineup. So he answered this with, I don't think it's a lock that Brunicke is in the opening night lineup. He's off to a strong start in camp, though, and I believe that at worst, he's one of the Penguins' best 6 defensemen. Pickering is going to make the team, whether on merit or by default, because the left side of the blue line is so bad. I'll guess that they both make the team, but that's only a guess in Brunicke's case. I can certainly see him getting a 9-game trial run, if nothing else. And can't agree more with that, because he has looked absolutely great in the Penguins training camp. And then another article, he also said, team sources told me that while the plan isn't for defenseman Harrison Brunicke to be ready this quickly, he doesn't turn 20 until next spring. The Penguins won't stand in his way if he's ready, and he was among their best players in the exhibition opener on Monday against Montreal. Could they give Brunicke a 9-game stint before sending him back to junior hockey? Sure. Could they keep him all season if they think he's ready? Indeed. And they won't put up any roadblocks if they deem that to be the case. So I think this is super exciting for Pittsburgh Penguins fans. Brunicke can be the next generation of Penguins defensemen after Kris Letang has moved on or retired. Even Erik Karlsson, trade talks are heating up around him, so that could be interesting. And the Penguins defense, to me, is not strong at all. I think it's their weakest point. I actually don't mind their forwards. I've said that in the past few videos. I think they have a lot of depth there, but the D-core, they're a little bit older. And the veterans, to me, aren't super defensively gifted. I know Penguins fans do not like Ryan Graves, but it seems like he's here to stay. There's also, Matt Dubas, who's not very good anymore. Connor Clifton, who's more of a third-pair defenseman. And then, obviously, we know Kris Letang and Erik Karlsson are good at what they do, but they're not super strong defensively, and that leaves a lot to do for the goalies, who are likely to be Artur Shilovs and Tristan Jarry, who they're also taking trade calls on, so maybe we'll cover that in a different video. But I think, if you have Brunicke and Pickering in there, it could be a lot of fun for Penguins fans. And another interesting thing is they've also been a pair at training camp and in games. If we look at this here, here's from Penn's Inside Scoop. Owen Pickering and Harrison Brunicke remain together. This is what Dan Muse had to say about their play in the preseason opener Monday in Montreal. I think with that pair, I thought you saw a lot of good things on both sides of the puck. I think in the offensive zone, you could see both guys can get moving a little. which creates space and confusion for the opponents. And there were some shifts there where they were really able to do that. Some of the shifts where we're able to extend time in the offensive zone, but then also the good puck movement and breakouts. I think at the beginning of the game, the breakouts were really good, and they were a big part of that. So it does seem like this pairing is super strong in transition, and I think I think that someone like Brunicke could be huge. He's still not even 20 yet, but it would be super fun to have someone as young as him make the Penn squad, led by a lot of experienced, accomplished NHL veterans. And why not have him learn from guys like Erik Karlsson and Kris Letang while they're still here? I know, obviously, the Penguins aren't strapped for cap space. Both these guys will be on league minimum deals. It's not an issue from that point of view. And maybe he's too good for junior because he also did have this quote as well where he talked about, I came into camp last year just feeling it out with nothing to lose mindset. Going in each day just trying to get better. That's the same thing that I'm doing now. Just taking it day at a time and working towards the goal of making this team. So obviously his goal is to make the team. I know he's a little bit humble in this quote, but I think he should be pushing to make the team. The Penguins are in a spot where they need some more defensemen who are, good. There's just a lot of names there that aren't really that great in my opinion. Because even looking at his stats, he was pretty solid last year. In Wilkes-Barre, he had 2 points in 10 games for his, first shift there. He's only 19, but he's 6'3", 202. Is a pretty big defenseman. Again, his offensive numbers were decent to me in Kamloops. 47 points in 41 games is pretty solid, and 47 the last year as well, but in more games played. So a little bit of an improvement there. Even actually no, I was looking at penalty minutes. Sorry, 30 points in 41 games is also still solid, and then 21 points in 49 games is also not that bad in my opinion. And I think he's someone who's gonna develop more of an offensive game. Again, only 19. There's still so much more to develop. And you know what the most important thing is, guys? If you look in the top left there, beside defense, he is a right shot defenseman, and that is so important in the league. I know Karlsson and Letang are also right shot defensemen, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be on the team. So him and Pickering to me could be a pretty cool squad there. And I think he's going to, if he doesn't make the NHL squad, I think he's going to go tear it up in the WHL again. I could see him being over a point per game this year. If he's going to be 19 years old, it'll be, what would that be? I guess it's technically his 5th year in the WHL, but I don't know if I'm going to count 21, 22. But I think if he does go back to Kamloops, it'll be someone to keep an eye on. But it also would be a super cool story if he does get 9 games with the NHL Penguins team this season as well, from my opinion. And then obviously someone who did play a lot of games with the Penguins last year is Owen Pickering. He only had 3 points in 25 games, but he's also only 21 years old, and he's 6'5", 200 pounds. So if you could have a deep pairing of Brunicke and Pickering, the average height there is 6'4", because 6'5" and 6'3". I think that's a super cool pairing for both, traditional hockey fans and the new age hockey fans, and I think they're both super solid players. In the WHL, obviously, he had a decent point production, 46 points in 59 games, and before that, 45 and 61. Obviously, it's hard to really quantify how good he is defensively, but all the scouting reports say, he's a pretty strong defensive-minded player. And if he can handle transition and breakouts, I think he'll fit right in with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And again, the defensive depth isn't that deep because I just pulled it up here. Ryan Shea, Kris Letang, and Owen Pickering. I could see Owen Pickering kind of coming up, moving up higher, because Ryan Shea to me is not a first pair defenseman. I don't know what the plan is. There's a lot of moving pieces with the Penguins defense because they're not that great. And if you do look at this right now, they have Kris Letang on his offside, which he's a super good defenseman, so maybe he could play on his offside, but I think you would want him to play on his normal right side. Although again, with the Penguins defense, they do need to spread the wealth a little. Connor Clifton also isn't that good. Matt Dummett isn't that good. Ryan Shea isn't that good. Ryan Graves isn't even here right now. Just because I believe this is based, I guess, on practice lines or preseason lines. But I can see Owen Pickering moving up this lineup. Arguably, he could be on the first pair right now based on who's playing, especially if Kris Letang were to shift back to the right side. A lot of stuff for Dan Muse to do. I don't know what he's going to do with this decor. It's really not that good. And I think at this point, you may as well bring someone like Harrison Brunicke up there to play with the big Penguins, because we already know what kind of player Matt Dummett is. We know what kind of player all these guys are. Maybe except Pickering, who's gonna, have another developmental season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. There's not a whole lot. Like, I'm not trying to be like too much here. I'm just there's not a whole lot going on for the Pittsburgh Penguins on their D-core. I've said their forward core is good again, their goalies are good, but if I were to identify a super weak point that may impact their standings if they are trying to push for the playoffs, I'm not sure that is the plan. I would look at their D-core especially. But before we get out of here again, quickly, the Penguins schedule. Again, they are in Detroit tomorrow. Sorry, not in Detroit. They play Detroit tomorrow against the Red Wings in a preseason game. And then Saturday is the Marc-Andre Fleury game. So I'm sure all Pens fans will be watching that, so that will be super fun as well. Anyways, guys, with that being said, do you think Harrison Brunicke and both Owen Pickering should be a pair on the Penguins team come opening night? Or do you think it makes more sense to have one of them or both of them be in either I guess it would be the juniors or the AHL to develop more on a Penguins team that won't be too strong? Let me know in the comments, guys, and obviously subscribe for all things Pittsburgh Penguins. We'll be coming at you with news right when it happens, and make sure you guys hit subscribe. Peace out, and have a good one as always.